how long it rains that'll be the problem. If it rains several days in a row, or if it I know we still have a couple more that are coming, but it's about 3:15, so we want to make sure that you make the most of your time as well. So, and you have anyone over next door? No? Okay, that's okay. We'll go ahead and get started.
Laura's parents, but they're also being challenged, so I don't know.
Well, welcome. Thanks for coming. So we're going to be talking to you a little bit about our Passport Adventures Isla Saboga trip that we'll be doing in January. I know Miss Bree will be sending out the official dates for that if she hasn't already, and then we'll be talking about sign-ups after that. Mr. Flick, do you need to start rolling, or?
No, I'm
We're
good.
rolling.
Oh.
All right, so to get started, Miss Arias is going to talk a little bit about what the trip entails.
Hello. Well, it's going to be 2.5 days and 2 nights. We're going to be camping on the beach. School's going to provide the equipment, the tents. We're going to be doing some observation and experiments using the scientific method, which will be the current unit we'll be exploring at the time. We'll have some classes in sailing, paddle boarding, and snorkeling. It's not all work. But we will also do some community service with local students. There's a new project with a library the school has over there, and we're going to be supporting them with that project. And we're also, which is probably one of the most important parts of this trip, is the bonding as a 6th grade class.
That's one of the parts that we'll talk about too. It's nice to be able to get out of the classroom as a whole group with both classes together. So students that are in 6A might get to know each other a little bit better with students in 6B. Meals are provided by a local restaurant that's there, which is literally about 100 meters from where we sleep, so it's very close. They also let us use their showers and their restroom facilities. It's done sort of cafeteria style. The students will line up and they'll get their food served. Compared to some of the other Passport Adventure trips, I like to say that this trip we get kind of the royal treatment because the food is very, very delicious. In this area, I kind of wanted to show you guys this photo too. This was last year's group in our dining area. After each meal, one of the things that we would do to try and encourage students to really be looking out for how their classmates are opening up and showing a lot of our IB learner profile traits. One of the things that we do is we have little medals, little medals like this, that we give out at the end of each meal. So the first meal, Miss Arias and myself and the other chaperones will choose some students that we noticed that were getting on the boat very properly, that were being risk takers and talking to new people, that were following instructions quickly, and they'll get a medal on that first meal. After that, though, those students have to take their medal and they have to keep an eye out on other students that they see doing similar things or being a friend to someone or trying something new. And then for every meal, they pass on their medal to somebody else. And this was kind of one of the more powerful moments of the trip because by the end of the trip, every student gets a medal, but every student gets another student who gives them that medal and who explains why they chose that student to give the medal to. So we do a lot of activities like this. We'll do this after every meal so that that sense of camaraderie is there. So you can see this is what our camping spots look like. We camp just up on the higher end of the beach there. January is our summertime in Panama, so it's a time when we don't get any rain. It's a little bit breezy out there, which is good because it helps us when it's time for sailing classes, but it's also nice because we don't have to deal with any high waves or heavy winds blowing over our tents or things like that.
What beach is going to be?
It's on Isla Saboga, but not on the side where the town is. So the name of the beach itself, I don't know if it has a particular name, but it's the side where there's the restaurant and there's some like condos that are up there as well on the hillside that overlook the beach. So we're on the same side.
Thank you.
One of the things to note with the facilities too is that we do rent out one of the condos, and so we keep the students' passports there. That's where we keep our telephones. That's where anything, if we need it for an emergency, if someone were to get hurt or if someone's just having a really rough night and they need to get away from a tent and actually go use a normal restroom and sleep in a bed. We have a condo there in case of emergencies. We've never had to use it for anything like that, but it is there. But the camping is very fun. We do the tent assignments, so nobody gets left out. And everyone is placed with someone that we think will be a good friend, that will be very open tent mates, so we do strategically do our tent assignments. As far as safety and communication go, all students are expected to follow, and we require that they follow just basic water safety rules. Life preservers are used on all the boats at all times. As well, there's adults present with every activity. And last year we were almost laughing with the amount of adults that we had. We had quite a few because we have our MET staff, so there'll be 4 of us that are MET teachers. Plus we have our paramedic that we bring, we have a security guard from the MET who will come, and the Sail Panama staff, which last year, if I'm not mistaken, there were 4 or 5 Sail Panama staff there as well. So each small group of students had at least 1 adult with them. So at all times they will be accompanied. We also do daily communication with parents. We do that through our room moms. So every evening, Miss Arias and myself will be on top of the hill where the best phone signal comes in. And we send our WhatsApp updates of how the day went. We send photos of the day, which then get distributed out through your WhatsApp groups so you can see what your kids are doing, see all the fun things that we did. If there's any need to call a particular parent for any concern or anything going on, we're able to do that as well. So we do have that coverage. As well, the owners of the condos are there and they have a landline as well if we need it. So as far as communication, we're covered in any circumstance we need. Okay. As Ms. Arias said, we are going to be studying the scientific method at that time. That's our next unit after leaders. And last year we found that Isla Saboga was an excellent place to try and bring in these unit connections. We talked about a lot last year about environmental awareness, and students participated in a beach cleanup, as well as doing different sorts of environmental observations. And this year, we expect the students, the week prior, we're going to be preparing to do a little experiment out there that students are going to help design, and so then they can actually use Isla Saboga as their place to conduct the experiment or the investigation. So we will be connecting it to our current unit of inquiry at the time.
About the community service, we'll be working with the community, as I said before. They have a project that involves their library. We'll even be asking for some donations further along the line of books in Spanish for this library that they're building. And we'll also help with probably cleaning up, painting the library, getting it organized, and with that, just also spending some time with the kids in the community and just helping build that sense of openness and getting to know people outside our little Met world.
Yeah, you can see on the right is a picture of one of the mornings that we spent at the beach last year. The community itself of Saboga is, it doesn't have a lot of resources. It's very typical of some of the rural communities in Panama's interior. Very warm, welcoming people. This is now the second or third year, or no, the third or fourth year, I believe, that we'll be going fourth to Saboga itself. Yeah, so they're used to us. They know the Met now. Last year, one of the things that we did with the kids that they said that they would welcome us to do is if we wanted to bring soccer balls or frisbees or anything like that to do activities on the beach. We had this morning where we went through town letting children know they were all welcome to come down and have a play day with us. So it was neat because our students were the ones that organized the games, that explained how they were going to play, and we had little soccer games forming. Sail Panama staff was there with the paddle boards and the sailboats so that the kids could also get a chance to get on the boats themselves. And it's something that Sail Panama has been doing for several years now, is they go out to the community even when we're not there, and they give free sailing classes to the children. So a lot of the kids, when they see the sailboats pull up with the Sail Panama staff on there, the kids all run out to the boats and they get on and they know how to do the ropes, they know how to steer. So it's kind of neat too, because then they can even teach our kids a little bit for the kids that have never been on a small sailboat before. It's one of the things that we've been trying to see, how can we do more? And it just so happens that this last year, as Ms. Arias was saying, they have this library project that they want some support with. So we're going to be helping them out with that. Okay. So we hope that your students can join us. It's really, for me last year was my first year at the Met, and it was by far the most memorable part of the year, was getting to go out there and see students who had never swam in the ocean. I had one student who lives by the ocean but has never actually been into the ocean, and to see him put on a mask and snorkel, even though he was a little apprehensive about it. And then that night after dinner, he got a medal for being the biggest risk taker of the day for trying something new. So definitely see a lot of students' strengths come out on this trip that maybe even themselves didn't know that they had in them. So I highly recommend it, and we'll take any questions if you have them too.
Questions?
Not everybody at once now.
When there was a payment email.
December the 2nd.
December the second is the last day for payment.
No, it's the early.
The early payment.
Early payment.
The early payment, okay.
Correct.
And the official dates?
Before going on holiday, so that will be the 16th, December 16th.
Is there an inscription for the payment? No.
I'm sorry?
We don't do any inscription or.
Oh
we
yeah,
don't sign-
I'll go form. I was signed on the Met Weekly. You received
We can go into the Med Weekly and
it?
sign.
Yeah, if not,
There's a
what
link.
we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on the blog,
Okay.
so you can have access to all the information there, rather than go to the Met Weekly and.
And this year is not mandatory, so it's.
No, and last year as well it was,
Yeah.
isn't
No,
mandatory.
it's
so
mandatory only for secondary.
Yeah.
For secondary students,
Yes.
yeah.
I might have missed it, but the dates for the trip?
No, you didn't miss it. The dates
Yeah.
for the trip itself, do we have those?
The 31st until the 2nd.
January?
Of January,
January.
yes. Which again is a very nice time of year to be out there. As far as sailing goes, we were very lucky last year. We had light breezes for sailing, so it was just enough to get the boats moving, but it was not enough to make anything dangerous or too windy than we would like it to be. Even the day that we had planned to go to the beach with the students in the local community was actually the day when we got almost no wind. So even getting the boats over there was a little bit difficult, but we managed to do that. So yes.
How do you get to the island?
Excellent question. So you catch the ferry boat from the Trump Hotel
Mahalo?
ferry landing.
Ah,
Yeah, they depart. We leave pretty early in the morning. We have it set up so that you can either drop your student directly off there. I know for the families that live downtown or on the waterfront, it's a little easier. We also as well have a bus that will be coming from the Met, so if it's easier just to have your kids come to school a little bit earlier, but if that's easier for your route, then we do have a bus that can bring them there as well. And then we are out there that full day and night, a second full day and night, and we return in the afternoon on that third day. So we leave there just after lunch.
Okay,
So it's
so
2 nights.
drop off is also the Trump and we can pick them up.
And then parents, yes, parents are expected to be there for the pickup, to pick up the students at the Trump. So, and it's I want to say it's usually between 4 to 5 o'clock when we arrive in the afternoon. So it tends to be an easier time of the day to do the pickup. The boat that we take out there is a ferry boat, so it takes out other passengers as well. It's very large, and it goes pretty fast. It usually doesn't take, I want to say it wasn't longer than a couple hours to get out there. They play music on the boat. It was actually probably one of the more fun parts of the trip because students were up and dancing and singing and entertaining some of the other passengers.
The club itself does the meals for them.
Yes, yeah, the beach club there does. I had asked in the beginning, but I don't think either of you were here. Have any of you been to Saboga before? Yes, you have.
Been to Contadora.
Contadora, yeah, very close to Contadora, and very similar with the exception that there's a lot less on Isla Saboga. Contadora has a lot more of that neighborhood
You
there.
don't go to any other island, you stay.
During the trip last year, we did go to a couple other islands on the sailing excursions with Sail Panama. The students could go out to one of the nearby islands. And the beach cleanup that we saw here that we did last year was on one of the other islands as well that faces the city. And so one of the reasons why we organized to do a beach cleanup there is because it was all garbage that came from Panama City. So it was kind of very eye-opening for students who were thinking, wow, well the only garbage that's out here must be from the people that are out here. And then they realized, no, this is actually garbage that floats out here from Panama City. So they did a pretty massive beach cleanup out there. And we're kind of looking at, we talked about some of the different ways that we could prevent this problem from happening in the first place, because they realized that it'd be impossible to do enough beach cleanups to really remedy the problem, and maybe we need to find a solution to not having so much contamination in the first place.
And regarding the food, for example, in Liam's case, would that be a problem?
No.
Or
All dietary needs are addressed going out there as well. I know last year we had several students with allergies that were lactose intolerant, so all of those were addressed out there as well. So they can prepare vegan meals out there.
Oh,
We sit down when we do the menu planning, they'll plan with us meal by meal what they'll be preparing, so. Yeah, so any dietary needs, we give them that information and tell them with them.
We get a packing list also.
Yes, yeah, a little bit closer to, we send out a packing list of all the things. Students do need to bring sleeping bags and pillows or sheets and blankets if they prefer that, and a mat to sleep on, a flashlight in their toiletries, but the tents, we provide that as a school. Students do get to set up their own tents, that's a lot of fun. And so it's kind of one of their first challenge when they get to their spot is getting set up, understanding how to assemble a tent. We do one kind of example for everyone, and then as a group they get to apply some of their teamwork in getting their tent set up. But it's a lot of fun. Okay. Yeah, Camila?
Do they actually have restrooms, or are we going to do our things on?
Both. And they have, well, not on the floor, no. But they do have the beach club where we eat. They do have normal flush toilets. One of the things, though, that the SAIL Panama staff built, actually, just for our group last year, were composting toilets. So they're like normal, like outdoor pit toilets that you use, but they have a big bag of sawdust, so like the dry dust from when you saw a tree. And you can scoop that in after you use it so that it dries out and it just becomes dirt. And so we encouraged students, although they weren't required, we encouraged them last year to do that because we also talked about, as a group of about 40 people or more, about 45 to 50 people, how much water we use when we use the restroom. And so we talked about an island like that and how little water it has, what were some ways that we could conserve. So we encouraged the brave to use those toilets.
And there's showers?
Yes, and there's showers there. They're the outdoor showers, so students would shower with their bathing suits on after they got out of the water, but they were the outdoor showers. And we had a girls' one and a boys' one.
I would recommend then using soap that is.
Biodegradable?
Yeah.
We use that, was it
Dr. Berners?
Yeah, that one, yeah. So we brought that out there with us to provide for students, but. Okay,
Sounds very good.
yeah. Any parents want to come?
My second daughter went to the Sabuga trip
Mhm.
years back, and she had a great time. They come back all time,
Yeah.
it's unavoidable, but.
We're pretty strict with the sunscreen applying and the hat wearing when we can. I know obviously when we're out swimming, it's hard to wear a hat, but we had periodic sunscreen application points where everyone had to stop what they were doing and apply sunscreen. So it's definitely something we take seriously, I myself included, because I tend to burn. So we're definitely all over the children to make sure that they're using sunscreen, and we bring extra just in case. We'll definitely keep your eyes open on the Met Weekly for sign-ups if you're interested in coming. Students that don't participate on the trip, I will add, we do arrange other curriculum-related activities that they would do at school on that day. I think last year we had a very small amount that didn't go, but they still were able to keep up with the unit. But again, even apart from the unit connections, it's just such a memorable experience and a great time to just get to bond with your classmates and challenge yourself in a new environment. So I highly recommend it, even just beyond the academic connections. So.
For me, it sounds very great. I just have one request. My son doesn't want to go at this moment, and that's been like year after year. But what gets him going is that when he finds out that his friends are going, so is there a way that we can share, that you can share
Of course.
who's already signed up or something like that? Or, I mean, I don't even have to know. To tell the kids who's
Yeah.
already going.
And to not put kids on the spot, I talk to kids that aren't going and ask them just why, and they can share with me a little bit of the reasons. But we're going to be showing the video from last year as well, of just images like you see here, a lot of the photos and a lot of the things that we did, and kind of sharing some similar stories like we're doing right now. So it's definitely something that we'll be encouraging them to do as well. If they're feeling a little apprehensive because they're not sure if their friends are going, definitely probably most of the grades, most of the both classes will end up going, so we can reassure them that they will have some friends there. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I
Yeah,
think
no
that would
problem.
be very helpful for, at least in my case.
Yeah. Okay.
Mine just died ago.
Yeah. Liam, you had a question?
What wildlife is there?
A lot of different wildlife to see out there. There's a lot of birds that we'll see. I believe we saw some lizards as well on the island itself. There's some wildlife though that you don't see out there just because of the time when the ocean rose and when the island became an island itself. So students noticed last year, they said there's some things that we see here that we see on the mainland, but there's other things that we don't see. So you will definitely see a lot of bird life out there though. In the ocean, students saw a lot of cool fish out there. There's a lot of different tide pools that we get to look at as well. So if you like any kind of ocean life, you'll get to see quite a bit too.
And also another question, can we take like our cameras?
You can. What I kind of encourage students is to not worry so much about the cameras. I know there was a student last year that had like a waterproof camera and we said that was okay. We take a lot of photos. This is maybe just a tiny, tiny portion of the photos that we actually take. But I know that if you're looking to catch some different animals out there, then that's all right. But other than that, most of the time that you're in the water, unless you have a waterproof camera, you probably won't be able to bring a camera into the water. But we will be handling a lot of the photos and videos as well, so.
But also, don't bring anything that you can't get lost, wrecked,
Yeah.
stolen, everything, because it's camping. You know,
Yeah.
anything could happen. So don't bring an expensive camera or just like someone's old camera and they don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
That's fine, but
Yeah, definitely. So again, this is with parents' permission and understanding that it is your responsibility.
it might never come back.
Yeah. Yes, I have a GoPro at the bottom of the ocean, so I know that all too well,
Yeah.
yes. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. Again, if you do have any questions that come up though at any time, know that you can write to us and to Bree, and we'll do our best to answer your questions at any point. So, okay. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.